Welcome back, travelers, to the series on Pokemon and what colors they would be in Magic. Like I said in the last episode, this is the idea that if every Pokemon was turned into a Magic card, basically, and we made a set based around Pokemon, then what would it look like? What would the colors of those Pokemon be? That's why some Pokemon are a little bit more on the other side of a color than another, because we're trying to make basically a hypothetical set based around these Pokemon. With that in mind, Team Rocket's influence, the Pokemon trainer influences, they will have somewhat of a role in some of these Pokemon. Now, Golbat is our first Pokemon. He's black. He's a bat. Bats tend to be black. And the fact that he's used so often by Team Rocket and basically the bad guy teams is what makes him mono black. Yeah, there's the fact that he's super common, he's everywhere. You could try to say that he's green because he's basically just a pest, but traditionally Magic has also had bats as a common black creature type. Vampires being huge, so you basically just have maybe different varieties of Zubat or Zubat trainers that would fill out the black role. Vileplume was another hard one, because you see, Vileplume has some poisonous attributes, has some the smell and all that other stuff goes around with it, so it's kind of hard to figure out, okay, well, what is it exactly? It's a corpse flower, that's what it's based off of. So what does that make it? Does it make it black? No, it doesn't. It makes it green, because it's still just a giant flower that just smells like meat. It smells like dead stuff. So being a giant flower kind of pushed it towards green very easily. Like I said, a lot of these are pretty simple. Well, I did just say a lot of these are simple. We have Parasect. Parasect is two colors. I really felt that black-green fit Parasect really, really well. The fact that it's a creature with a fungus attached to it, the fungus slowly consumes it and hijacks the body, that's very black-green to me. That feels like it could have been a Golgari card. Venomoth. Venomoth is like Butterfree and Beedrill. It's a giant moth. It's green. Yeah, there is a possibility. I thought about making it white, but I feel like the fact that it's a poison type, the fact that you could technically give a death touch if you felt like it, means that I think it's much more green than it would be white. Dugtrio. He's one of the fastest Pokemon in the original set of Pokemon, so I felt like, yeah, maybe red? Yeah, definitely red. He just digs, he's in the dirt, he's basically like a ground elemental mole, and the fact that it fits all those different bits, the fact that it's fast, the fact that if you felt like you could give it first strike, even you could even introduce a new mechanic where it was a red kind of evasion, because of the fact that it can dig. A lot of Pokemon can dig, so you can put it in red and green. It'd be a specific ability that only red and green creatures have to make it so that they're harder to block because they are under the ground. So like creatures with flying can't block it. That would be the kind of idea that I would have. Another reason I mentioned Team Rocket at the start of this episode is because of Persian. Persian is black. Mainly because of Meowth. Meowth is this. He's Team Rocket. He's one of the big three faces of Team Rocket. You got Jesse, James, and Meowth. Meowth is always there. Persian, yeah, it's the guy it's the thing that's around Giovanni all the time. That could be another reason to make it black. But I feel like Meowth is a character. He fits black really well. It's also worth noting for Persian, last note, the Alolan forms, obviously they're dark types, they kind of lean black. So there's that too. Golduck, it's a blue duck, it's blue. That was pretty fast. Primeape, he's an angry monkey, which makes him red. Arcanine, one of my favorite Pokemon, he's a giant fire dog, fire lion dog, and he's legendary and he's fast, he has extreme speed. Yeah, he's red. I would like to go more in depth on him, but he's just a red dog. Poliwrath is interesting because he could have been blue, red, or white. The main reason for the red and the white is the fact that he's a fighting type, and a lot of fighting types tend to fall into red and white. Red for the more scrapper-based characters, like Primeape, and then white for the more disciplined fighters, which I'll get to in a bit. But in the end, I thought, well, it is a frog, and blue would need some aggressive Pokemon too, not just the ones that are more like based, like Golduck. Something that actually looks intimidating. So I figured, yeah, that fits for blue. Speaking of more blue Pokemon, Alakazam! Alakazam is a psychic type. He's all about his mind. He's got like a 3,000 IQ, and like, he's blue. He's as blue as you can get. without making him a wizard, basically. And on the discipline side of fighters, and unlike Primate, we have Machamp. Machamp has a belt. The belt makes sure that he can maintain his strength. He practices daily. Machop and Machoke are also super disciplined bodybuilders. It fits the Machamp idea of him being white. It fits so well. Like, he could be one of the face cards for the white Pokemon because of how disciplined and how protective he is of those that are weaker than him. Victory Bell, Pitcher Plant, a Piranha Plant, a Venus Flytrap kind of deal. It's actually just a pitcher plant, but it's green. It's a plant. Plant. Tentacruel. It's a jellyfish. It's a jellyfish that kind of just goes through the water. It's a poison type, yeah. You could technically try to make it black, but I feel like it's basically just like a Kraken-based jellyfish. So blue. Golem. Golem was hard, because the Golem was either going to be red or he's going to be green. I couldn't decide which one at first. But then, as I looked at it more and more, I thought about the fact that when you think of Golem and Graveler and Geodude, it's very rock-based, it's less of the ground side of things. And rock-type Pokemon tend to have the explosive aspects to them, especially the Golem line, where explosion is like the thing you don't want them to do when you see them in a cave. So I figured, okay, well, an explosive personality, rocks, stuff like that, Golem's red. That was what I landed on. Last note for Golem, his Alolan forms. They're electric rock types. If anything, that pushes it way over the edge. It's definitely a red Pokemon. Rapidash! It's a fire horse! We literally have elemental horses that are red and they're fiery, and it's like, this is already a card, basically. Rapidash is a red elemental horse. Thundermare. Honestly, I have looked, of course, I know all the different Pokemon, so I've looked at the evolutionary trees for most of these guys. So looking at Vileplume, obviously Blossom had some influence there, but in the case of Slowbro, I had to kind of sit down and think to myself, okay, is this guy green or is he blue? Because if he's green, then it goes more towards the Slowbro side of things. But if he's blue, it goes more towards the Slowking side of things. But if you think about it, both also have aspects of those other colors. Because Slowking is basically Solomon in Pokemon form. He's wise and smart and he's got a crown and everything. Slowbro, he's Slowbro, but he's got some smarts to him too. He's got some psychic abilities. So I thought to myself, okay, well, he's blue-green. He's a perfect example. He's just a blue-green Pokemon. And so he is the next in the line of the dual color combination Pokemon. Slowbro is blue-green. Magneton. Magneton was another hard one because I thought to myself, okay, well, Magneton, first and foremost, is an artifact creature, right? So that meant that it would have something to do with artifacts in general. And of course, in a Pokemon-based set, you would have stuff like Pokeballs, the Pokédex, things that are just potions. These would be artifacts that you could use, maybe sacrifice them for a use, like a revive kind of deal. So I thought about it and I said, okay, well, if this Pokemon is an artifact creature, what would it work with? Well, electricity. Okay, so it's galvanic in nature. It's got these electrical aspects to it, so that does lean towards red. And red works with artifacts. And I like red. Magneton is red. Okay, this next one's Farfetch'd. So, Farfetch'd is mono white. He's just a bird. He's not just like a green creature because most of the time when it's just a bird, like a simple bird, it's white. If it's an owl, it's blue, but because it's just a normal duck with no added abilities, just carries around a stick of onion, it's white. Dodrio, three-headed bird, really fast. Once again, split between red and white. I went with white mainly because he's just still a bird. He's an ostrich. He's just a bird. Dugong, seal. Literally the names for a dugong and a seal. So they're blue. They're blue sea creatures. Muck is interesting because Muck is an ooze. That's a creature type in Magic. You can just say it's an ooze. So oozes tend to either be green, blue, or black. Yeah, there are some red ones that are outliers. I don't think there's really ever been a white one, but looking at it, blue wasn't really an option. It was between green or black. Mainly because of the death touch, because it's all stinky and stuff. I eventually settled on black because it's also got intimidate, it's got menace, it's got the nobody wants to touch it kind of vibe, and so I went with that for Muck. Alolan Muck also is definitely a good example of a death touching Pokemon. It deals damage if the little tooth thing breaks, That's concentrated poison, basically. It will instantly kill whoever it bites. And it's also a dark type, so, I mean, it's kind of just set. Cloyster! One of my best friends. Cloyster is a shell. It's an oyster. Go like that. It's blue. It's just an oyster. And now we've reached Gengar, one of my favorite Pokemon. And the thing about Gengar is that he would be black. He's a ghost, so that means he's a spirit. But the thing is, he's also a mischievous spirit. You don't see very many red ghosts. And a mischievous spirit obviously knocks it out of the white category, which means either blue or black. It's not very much focused on perfection or being particularly tricky because it feels like it should, because it wants to outsmart you. It does it because it thinks it's funny. If you can just look at the cartoons, you can look at the animes, and you can look at just the way that the Gengar acts as a character in the Pokédex. It says that he just kills people so they can have a friend. So, if anything, he seems very black to me because he's a very extroverted, very, I'd say selfish Pokemon. So that should do it for today. That was 20 different Pokemon evolutionary lines. The next part should be the last part for the Kanto region. If this series does well enough, I'll also do Johto. Johto has some interesting ones. I've already started looking at it, kind of, and it is a slightly smaller pool of Pokemon since they only introduced, I think, around 80 Pokemon, 70, whatever. The point is, you guys, please leave a like if you haven't already, and share this with your friends that like Pokemon or Magic or both, because I feel like the two of them together, it's just it's something cool, it's something great, something new. And until then, travel well.